On today's episode, we chat about A, B, and C activity, education for children, and habits of happy people. This is the Freddie and Alyssa Show.
Welcome, everyone. Oops, I forgot to do my clap to line up the audio. Let me make sure this is recording.
Oh my gosh. This is my life.
Yes. So, yeah, fun little tipsy. Little tipsy. No, that's later. See, this is where the audio is, so it sounds amazing, but the audio over here is still recording, but we have to link this audio to the video. So what you're hearing is actually the audio from here, but the video from an iPad that's about 6 feet away. So when I line it up, I need to line it up to a clap. Now I'll be able to see, ooh, that's where it is on both. Anyway.
The more you know.
The more you know. Sorry about that, Benj. Happy Friday or happy whatever day you are watching this podcast. We have just a lot of fun, happy things to talk about today. A lot of fun, happy things. But before we do, I want to talk about wrinkles. No, you heard me right. I want to talk about wrinkles or lack thereof. Lack thereof is actually better. Alyssa and I have used two products, a night serum and a day serum, for over 5 years from the same brand, and it's the only thing we've ever used. We rarely kind of talk about it, but we've just been so brand loyal to these two products. And I remember I was like 25 when I first tried it, and I didn't really have any wrinkles, but I was. But
they said it was preventative wrinkles, so we were like, let's do it.
It was preventative, and I kind of was like, let me just try. But I started off like putting a little on my forehead, went to bed. I would not put it on my whole face because I've never put anything on my face before. So it took me about a week of trying different areas to make sure it wouldn't react to my skin.
Not me. I was first night, the whole bottle.
You did. You were more brave. But I took it slow for a week, and we got hooked. And they just now, maybe 3 months ago, just revamped and came out with a new and I guess more amazing, just because of like how easy it is to put on. But it's a night serum and a day serum. And the things that I love, because for me to even brush my teeth and floss and do all that at night, I don't want to do all those steps. So this night serum is just, you wash your face, you put on 3 pumps, you rub it on, you get a tightening mask feel, and you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, you wash it off, you feel amazing. Fellas, it even helps with when I shave, it like softens it, but I love how it feels. And then the day cream, we just pump 4 pumps, put it on, feels like butter, and it's absolutely amazing.
I have to tell you too, I have never seen you before this, even all these years ago, ever have a routine in the morning. Like, it was really, really hard for you to follow a routine, and you've done it for years.
I only do 4 things. Floss. I floss first, then I brush, then I mouthwash, and then I put on my day serum. Unless I'm working, then I floss, brush, shave, then mouthwash, then the day cream. And it's the only day cream that this whole brand's the only thing I ever use. Even at work, when they want to put it on, I always make sure I put my own on before, just because I'm so skeptical of anything else, because I've become so brand loyal.
And this morning too, he's about to leave and he has his shoes on and everything. And we really try and keep our shoes off in the house to keep it clean. And he goes, oh no, I got to put on my day cream. So he like tiptoed in.
Yeah, and just slathered it up and did it. But we wanted to share it with you, because if you're looking for any good night or day serums, this is worth the try. And the thing we love the most is that the brand gives you a 30-day money-back guarantee. So we feel comfortable sharing it because you literally have nothing to lose. You can always send it, except for wrinkles. So you have nothing to lose. So you can give it a try for 30 days. And the brand actually encourages you to take a before and after picture to put the results to the test, so that you can be the judge and jury of it if it actually works and it's something you want to continue to use. So I love that. And then lastly, or the website, go to, if you want to give it a try, go to alyssatabit.com/glow, GLOW, and it'll bring you right to the night and day. And then the last thing that we would suggest is, when you have the option to become a preferred customer, which means on a recurring basis monthly, it gives you a 25% discount. And it's not a contract. So even after 27 days, if you're like, this isn't for me, you can just cancel, and there's no recurring thing, but it allows you to save 25%. And the products are called Neat Aura, and they're absolutely phenomenal. So I wanted to share that with you today. But I want to hop into what we're actually going to be talking about today with happiness and a lot of really cool things. And because I haven't done much talking thus far in this podcast,
I feel like I'm the sound effects gal.
Yeah, you're my laugh track. You're my laugh track. You give me, you make my jokes sound funnier with the laugh track.
Everyone watching goes, oh, she's laughing. It is funny.
Yeah. Or they hear you. You have a memorable laugh. It's a little like your mom's.
Loud. It's very like my mom's.
It is. But real quick, before we get into that as well, I wanted to talk about something very important. And it's one, I can't remember what chapter it is in our book, but if you were following us on Instagram, you'd notice that there was like one day we were rearranging our entire house, our apartment, trying to figure out a new set. And so I'm curious what those of you who are watching, what you think of the new set. It's not different. We just flipped it and the whole thing. But
we actually moved the whole house around. And then once we moved it, we go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's best the way we had it. So.
Yeah, we guessed it right the first time, and this was the best way. So we were going to sit on the couch, but then we couldn't have the table, and like we feel like we need the computer and other things around here and the coffee, and it'd be too much of this going back and forth. If you're on the couch and all sunken in and weird posture and everything. But the thing I wanted to bring up is how that was considered C activity.
Yep.
Alyssa and I kind of came up with this little like theory. I don't know if we came up with it or just kind of adopted it. I don't even remember where it came from, but we've always lived by understanding the difference between A, B, and C activity. And I think a lot of people who might find themselves like riding a stationary bike or kind of staying in place or running in place and not moving forward, they get caught in C activity. And what we mean by that is A activity, B activity, and C activity is all important no matter what you're trying to actually accomplish, whether it's lose weight, whether it's to start a blog or a podcast or a business or whatever it may be. But that's a prime example of what C activity is. A lot of people would say, you know what, I want to start a podcast. And instead of just recording a podcast and putting it out and figuring it out and making it better as they go, they would start with C activity and they go, well, let me rearrange my house. So then they can tell their friends like, oh, we're making our house in there. So they're doing all this C activity. They're researching the mics. They're doing all that. And all that is necessary.
They're not stepping out of their comfort zone and actually doing the dang thing.
Just do.
Yeah.
You know, like we've gone through so many iterations of our podcast, from locations to different ways that we do it, but we just do. That's activity.
Even if you look back like a couple years ago when we were Personal Growth Nation and we did it on Facebook, we went live, and there was one time, our very first one, I was like, okay, I'm going to interview you, Freddie. And we were about to go live. We told everyone on Facebook, hey, we're going to go live. And we went live and there was an echo and we're like, shoot, what do we do? We're live. So I ended up running downstairs like mid-interview, and I went in the car. It's about to be nighttime. I've got this weird light on in the car trying to get light because it's a video, and we still did it, you know? Yeah. And everything has just evolved and grown so much. We even went to Sunset Gower Studios where we, you know, really started it. And then we were like, you know what? Let's do this thing in our house. Let's have people we love over. Let's have guests over. Let's have us just chat, connect whenever we're feeling inspired. Let's just get on the mic instead of sitting for 45 minutes in traffic and then doing it and then 45 more minutes home. So, you know, it's going to continue to evolve.
Yeah, and you have to. So if anyone's trying to do anything, it's important that you spend 10% of your time on B activity, 10% of your time on C activity, but you need to spend 80% of your time actually doing. If you're going to be like, I'm going to go work out, researching gyms and going to buy new gym clothes is B and C activity. It's necessary, but you need to just start, like, wake up and do push-ups, wake up and do squats. Yeah. So that's what I just really wanted to share, is that we still do C activity at times.
You have to.
But it's in between a massive amount of A activity. And that's how people will ask that. Like, how do you, like, it's like, that's just what we do. Like, I can't sit still. Like, I can't be bored.
Yeah.
As you can tell, like, we always have millions of things going on because I love the idea of like creating something and seeing it happen, but you can only do that by actually doing A activity.
And don't get me wrong too, even C activity, you have to have it. Like when I first started my blog, I did a lot of research. I go, what do I want my vibe to be? What do I like that bloggers do? What do I dislike? What do I need to know? And I just kind of started collecting and putting together like a mood board from, you know, my actual head and what I saw out there. And then I go, okay, now it's time to get the website. Now it's time to actually build the thing. And it was hard. I'm just like, it's crazy what you learn to do that kind of stuff. But it was so necessary to do C activity. But if I would have stayed doing C activity all year, I wouldn't have all of the blogs that, we've done in the past year. And it's crazy. You got to do the A activity, but you got to prep for it. So it's okay to do C activity, but don't get stuck there.
Yeah.
You got to get in and do the dang thing.
And have patience and let it evolve. And like you and I are also very blessed that we are able to do all these side hustles and like have, as Gary Vee always says, like we have our sizzling meat and then we have all these side dishes. And that allows us to keep exploring and doing different things. But we were also able to take the blog and the podcast very slow.
Yeah.
Like we didn't, even when it comes, like we just started now doing like ads the past few weeks, but we were able to do a whole podcast for a year before introducing some ads to it. Even with your blog or brand deals, I feel like you say no to most.
I do.
And there's certain ones that you will say yes to, but
I gotta believe in it.
Yeah. But we've got this sizzling meat that allows us to let this unfold naturally and have patience with it. So I guess that's advice to anybody who's, especially with creatives like podcasting or blogging. It's like, I understand that certain people are in situations that they need to like figure out a way to quickly monetize and do all that. But at the same time, if you can put that off for a couple years, it's going to take you 12 to 18 to 24 months of writing a blog every week, doing a podcast every week to start doing that. Honestly, and that's just like, if you hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it. And even with the whole diet, like I really finally feel like after this last 90-day run and being able to like understand like the calorie counting, and then, then we kind of got off it for a little bit, but to just understand now that I'm looking long-term, like I think the 90 days a good thing to build discipline, but it's not sustainable forever. So I think it's great to just get that discipline, get that extra weight off of you, but then start looking at like, where am I going to be in 12 months?
Yep.
What would it be like if I just lost a half a pound instead of 2.5 every, what I mean? Like let live life and do all that. So we've really learned to be patient on top of doing the A activity.
Yeah, 100%.
So
ask yourself though, are you doing A activity? Are you doing it? Or are you doing B or C where you're researching or prepping to do it? Because if there's a goal that you want, make sure that you're doing the work.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Because you get caught. I mean, you just got to just do it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I want to open a bakery. Well, bake. Well, I got to do, no, just like we do tonight.
Yeah.
And we saw that a lot because we were in a leadership role and coaching for many, many years. And when we talk, I mean, we would hear it all. Like it was very eye-opening to hear somebody say like, I want to open a bakery or I want to do this, but I just don't have the time. It's like, we need to start baking. And it's like, I'm so busy. But then you post a day later that you're at happy hour with your girlfriends. Like you can't have both. Like, how do you say you don't have time for your passion, but yet you have time for fun? There's got to be a little sacrifice
this one
mixed
show,
in.
And there's this girl who got a book deal and she had to push her book deal. She goes, I just don't have enough time.
And went to Mexico for 3 days.
Mexico for 3 days
to party.
Come on. You have a book deal? What are you doing? But hey, to each his own, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It just brings me up to that whole, like, just going above and beyond. And that's, I haven't, this is like a new theory, not theory. What would you call it? A new
idea?
Not a new idea, something new I'm putting into motion that I feel like if we were to update the pivot principle or the next book, there will be a chapter on going above and beyond.
Okay. Love that.
And I just wish, and I'll lead by example because I can't control other people, but I wish that people would go above and beyond what's required. It's the same saying as what is it? It's like don't over promise and under deliver. Under promise and under promise and over deliver.
That's it.
But going above and beyond, it's like if you have like even if you go into like the dentist office or you're paying somebody to like do something, it's like I feel gypped if I just get in a client-based business.
Yeah.
Like I can go to any dentist. Like you should do more for me. Go above and beyond because I could leave.
Yeah.
Go above and beyond for your customers or your clients. And that's with accounting. That's with hiring people for stuff. It's like, I don't want someone just to
It's for anything though. I even came home yesterday and I said, oh my gosh, the customer service at Pickup Sticks is above and beyond. Like, just so kind. Every time I go in there, they care to talk to me, to just be so friendly and just, I don't know, leave me with a smile. And that's at Pickup Sticks, you know, like that's amazing. That's how it should be everywhere that you go in the world.
Yeah, it's like if we hired a wedding photographer and they're like, it'll be $2,000 and we will give you 100 photos. And then we give them $2,000 and at the end of the wedding they're like, here's 100 photos. It's like, you couldn't do 115. Like that like, I don't know how to describe it, but like that little extra. I mean, that was the agreement. Yeah. And that's why I'm not upset, but it's just like above and beyond. Just go a little bit, give a little extra. People don't think. No. They just want to do the whole thing. That's even too, like when I'll do certain brand deals, you want to build a relationship to further working together. And so you go above and beyond. If they ask for X amount of deliverables, I'm like, well, let me do one more. You know, and that's how everyone in the world, that's how all business should work. Because we would continue to go back and back and back. Well, you have a great relationship with Rent the Runway.
Yeah.
You have a great relationship with Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
So you build,
Vayner, like, absolutely. But they're all wonderful too, you know? But I just always want to be the kind of person, if someone's emailing me, no matter the project I'm working on, I like to get, like, I always have my phone. I try to, at least during Monday through Friday, near me. And I'm always keeping my emails. I'm always on the lookout. Mm-hmm. You know? I want to be available. I think it's very, very important. Emails are a lot easier though than the phone, I feel. Because I feel like a lot of times we're out and about, or you're working or I'm doing stuff, and it's a lot easier to email or message or text or.
Yeah, you can be more efficient of like, I'm going to get back to them and do that.
Isn't that crazy though? And I feel like it used to be different back in the day.
Well, it had to be. You know?
Yeah.
It had to be.
Yeah.
And then I think the text also seemed a little impersonal. Like at one point, maybe even 10 years ago, like I would never text my cousin on her birthday. Like we're closer than that. Like I have to call.
Yeah.
And as it's progressed, it's actually sweet. Or I'll send those like Snapchat, like filtered videos, happy birthdays. I like doing those.
Signature.
But yeah, it's become more like acceptable that you can do like anything on there. And you can also go above and beyond there. Like you'll get emails from people or texts from people that are like, you know, hey, like, you know, like no explanations, no smiley faces, no, hey, I hope, like if you get any email from me, it's always, hey, the person's name. Hey, Alyssa, hope you're having an amazing week.
Yeah.
I just want, like, if I email my accountant or something, I'll say, hey, blank, I hope you're having an amazing week. Attached is my 2 deposits that I made. Enjoy your weekend. Looking forward to speaking to you soon. Smiley face emoji. Where I could just go, deposits, here you go. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's like it takes me 15 more seconds, and I know because I read both happy emails and people who care and people who don't care as much, and I can feel the difference.
Of course.
So I go above and beyond. If you're ever going to hear from me, it's, hey, happy Thursday. What's up? It just sets the precedent of when I speak to Freddie, it's positive and he's going to give his all.
That's right.
And I think it's important because that's what we want to set as a precedent for our reputation, business, and, you know, personal life. We're very, you know, I don't think people are surprised of like, who are we going to get today? Is this going to be, is this going to be this Alyssa or that Alyssa? It's just like,
I hope not.
Well, I will tell you, when I wake up and I wake you up early, I'm always 50-50.
Mm-mm. You don't know what you're going to get. He likes to talk to me the second that he wakes up. And I don't know how you get this energy. He's so bright. He opens all the windows. I mean, 5:45 a.m. today, I'm just like trying to get my life together. You know, I'm just opening my eyes and I always go, babe, I need coffee before we can talk.
I'm good to go.
How do you do that? I guess that's got to be in your DNA that you could just get up or maybe it's mental and you are able to act that way.
I think it depends on what's going on. I think there's days when there's like kind of a lull in life. Maybe there's a couple of weeks of like lullness of like, oh, what's going on? Like I'm not as enthused to get out of bed. But when we have like the stuff we have going on, it's like today I'm ready. Like I want to go knock out these scenes. I want to come home, do the podcast. We still have all these errands to run. And like, I just was ready to get
we have a lot to do today, actually.
Yeah, but we have a weekend of not too much. I mean, we like photos and stuff. I mean, we're always working on something, but it doesn't feel like actual like tedious work.
Yeah.
And we still haven't returned our car. So we have our brand new car we got 2 weeks ago, and it's just sitting there in the garage because I don't want to insure both of them, which is actually kind of like if someone were to smash into our car right now down there.
Hopefully not.
But anyway, so it's just sitting down there, but we have till the 22nd to bring it back. But I want to bring it back because I'm like, want to drive our new car.
I know.
But we don't have to make our first payment till May 8th.
Boom, shakalaka.
Haven't heard that one in a while. I'm going to get some more coffee. Not that I need it, but
then
we'll talk about, I know you have questions or whatever.
Yeah, no. So I, earlier this week, wrote a blog about habits of happy people. And, you know, I wanted to go over it with Freddie and kind of see what he thought of it, if he had anything to add, because I feel like sometimes with happiness, people wonder, you know, is it attainable? And people will always say, you know, once I'm in the perfect relationship, once I make all the money in the world, once I do this, then I'll be happy. And you can have all of the power, you can have all of the pleasures and whatever else it might be, it's not going to fulfill you. So I wanted to go over it.
We can. What made you choose that topic?
What made me choose that topic? Because I feel like a lot of times people will always say to me or ask me, and this is through my whole life, and we've kind of talked about this before, and they are always just saying, you know, how are you always so happy and perky and everything you went through? What are you looking at?
Oh, just the Benji moved.
And especially after our car accident, they're like, how do you know, have that kind of attitude? And I just felt it was something that a lot of people struggle with, and they wonder, hey, is it attainable? Because don't get me wrong, we all have our days. We all, no matter how hard you try and be happy, things are going to happen. Life is going to happen. But it really is having a certain amount of principles that you follow every day and living intentionally and on purpose. And I just gathered, I did a lot of research too. I wanted to see other people out there. You know, I love my research. I'm all about the research. And just kind of talking to people too that I know that are super joyful. So yeah, I just wrote a couple of them, and I just wanted to see what you thought of them and if you had anything to add.
Okay. I think this is your way of testing if I checked your blog out.
You haven't.
I live your blog.
Okay, so habits of happy people. Number 1, they are obsessively grateful. When we take time to acknowledge the things that go right in our lives, it means we are receiving many little rewards throughout the day. This can help with our overall mood and make way for new blessings to come into our life. Mm-hmm. You agree with that one?
I agree. And
that's also too why I do the gratitude journal, because I love to get it out in the universe. Like, I'm so grateful for this, make room for new blessings.
But the reason that makes more sense to me now as I've gotten older is that I've had bad weeks, months, or years in the past 15 years, like sporadically. And because of those down moments, it allowed me to understand being grateful for the good ones.
Yes.
You know, I had a very like chill, awesome childhood. Like I didn't like it was just like, you know, I mean, I didn't have nothing compared. Like I just was like, I'm going to go and be an actor. Yeah. And like, it just kind of like worked out in the sense of, you know, I moved out here. I had some issues. It was still like a lot of messed up stuff, but like, now that I've went through more stuff in life, I understand being grateful.
Yeah.
But not only through my own eyes, but through understanding what else is going on in the world, what other people are going through. I'm very like, I pay attention to hearing what people are saying and doing and the things they've gone through. So I have more perspective. Like I took for granted how well my mom and dad parented me until maybe the past year. And I know that yet again, Gary Vee kind of put that seed out there. And I was like, huh. But then when I started seeing it in my own life and hearing stories about how people struggle still to this day with an absent parent or something like I didn't understand. It was just my normal life. But now when I'm seeing perspective of others, I go, wow, I got super lucky.
Very lucky, both of us.
In that regard. So I understand being grateful now.
You know, it's crazy too with just energy and having gratitude. I had a roommate when I first moved to LA. Her name was Melissa, lived together probably 12 years ago. And one of my first assisting jobs, I worked for this woman and I was selling something for her on eBay. And she was saying, you know, when you sell it, have the intention that it's going to sell. When you're putting it up there, have that intention that it's going to sell, that it's going to sell. And I went home and told my friend, and we were just laughing about it. We're like, she's cray cray. Like, what is this? And then cut to about 6 months ago, she just had her baby, my old roommate. And I sent her a gift. She sent me a thank you note. And she wrote in this note, she goes, do you remember when you had that job and your boss was telling you, make sure you have good energy when you're sending it out? And she goes, we thought she was crazy, but now it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because it's just putting things in perspective. Like if you're happier and have a good energy, chances are you're going to get that back because that's what you're putting out into the universe. So it's just so funny. You come full circle. Yeah. You grow, you learn, you have experiences, and you're like, okay, maybe this is something I should adopt and try.
It is. And I think that's our biggest passion project for the future is being able to tackle adolescent education of things that we had to learn on our own. And I think there's a way to implement, but like, I think that's the trick is how do you get a 14-year-old or 16-year-old to understand when they have no perspective, unless maybe you can travel with them or they can see how different people live. Like, I don't really know.
You got to speak to them in terms they'll understand. And I think that's the hardest part of educators and the younger generation, because how are you going to know? You can try.
But people told me everything that I know now, I was told at some point, most of it. But I was like, you don't have nothing to compare it to. I'm like, why do I want to, who cares about saving money or who cares? Like,
but you know what else is so crazy? And we've talked about this. Moms or parents always know best because they've lived it. When you're younger, you're like, yeah, whatever. And then the more you look back at it, you're like, nope, parents knew. They lived it. They knew that was going to be a bad choice or the wrong person to date or whatever it is. They could see the situation because they have all this experience on earth. And, you know, that outweighs this young mind that's like, I know everything.
And I think you have to let them fail. Like I was out the other day and I heard this, like, I don't know, she was probably like, how old was she? Maybe like 19 or like early 20s. And she was like describing this, I overheard the conversation. She was describing this text message with this guy. And I was like, oh my God.
No.
I was like, I literally, like, it wasn't my place. I just wanted to go, excuse me. It's over. Like the fact that you're even texting this guy back is just like, but like I used to play that game, like where you would like not answer right away and you would do all that. Like now it would be like,
I think I even did that with you.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. You know, when our 9-year friend anniversary on Facebook came around, I don't know if anyone caught that. We posted it on, I think we just posted on Instagram
the other day. Yeah.
But we looked back, we were trying to find our very first conversation and it didn't, I think we must have deleted it or something, but we didn't know what the first, I wanted to see what our first Facebook back and forth was, because that's where we built our friendship.
Yeah.
It wasn't really through text and it wasn't through in person. Like the moment it happened, I remember the place that we lived and we talked on Facebook for like an hour, but
really?
It was very, it made a big impact on both of us.
Clearly.
So, but we don't have it. So that's unfortunate.
Well, we should look on your account because it was deleted.
I tried and it's in my messengers. It doesn't.
Dang it. Well, guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. So, okay, let's go back to habits of happy people. So you agree with number 1, they're obsessively grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, they cultivate resilience. Resilience. According to psychologist Peter Kramer, resilience, not happiness, is the opposite of depression. Happy people know how to bounce back from failure. Resilience is almost like a padding for the unavoidable adversity humans are bound to face. As the Japanese proverb goes, fall 7 times and stand up 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I think the bigger question is, I still think people know this. I just think people get into circumstances and they don't have the circle or support to help them move and become better. And they just don't have a plan to get out. And I think that's what you know, because people want an amazing life. People want, but there's their life and circumstances holding them down, but there's something they're holding on to, whether it's the wrong group, whether it's the wrong relationship, the wrong job, something's holding them back, where if they would just like let it all go and have, you know, and start over and be able to build something. But then you have kids and jobs. I mean, I have complete empathy and understand how people sometimes just go, look, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for my kids. I'm going to do whatever. But like,
of course,
but I think you owe it to yourself, because you have one life and life is very long, that you need to be resilient, that it's like things are always going to happen. And if you don't put yourself out there, you don't fail as often. So when a failure or something bad comes, it's going to destroy your world because you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Like there are so many hiccups that we deal with on a daily basis with how many emails and people we talk to, and just like I think you'll be in the other room and I'll hear like, oh my God, babe, look at this email I just got. I'll be like, oh my God, babe. I'm like, I was like, okay. Like we do that at least once a day. Just an unbelievable amount of like little hiccups of like things that should be easy that aren't. And then we've gone through failures, but I just feel like when you put yourself out there and you keep losing and failing, that is how you get used to it, and you start appreciating the good times. You start being grateful for the good times, and then you just don't care anymore. Like I expect it. I'm optimistic. I'm glass half full, but I'm also like, well, I mean, something could go wrong and like, we'll deal with it.
But if it does go wrong, we've trained ourselves now that we're like, okay, like on to the next. Yeah. It's not even a thing. Like sometimes we'll be like, oh, that sucks. But it doesn't stop us from continuing to go on the path.
You can do literally anything. And I think the number one, the two things that I think are the baseline that I've experienced in my life is, number one is feeling good about yourself. So whatever that may be, there is no like, this is what you need to be. Whatever you're happy with when it comes to your own skin and body and health, I think as long as you can look in the mirror and be happy of who you are and proud of who you are, then that's step number one for happiness. Yep. And if you don't like what you see and you want to change, you need to get on that ASAP. Yeah. Because that will naturally change 80% of your mood, because I've gone through those things. Being in the shape you feel you look best at is number one. That's going to change a lot of things. And number two is getting your finances in order. It is hard to be 100% happy or take punches to the face from life if you literally are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling with debt and bills. It just is this weight and it's this cloud, and it is worth giving up everything for 2 years, sacrificing everything to clean that up and give yourself some breathing room where you're like, I'm going to try this business. You're like, I just blew $500. Damn it. But you've got 12,000 left. Yeah. When you're paycheck to paycheck, the pressure of it's like the actors who come out here and they're like, I'm giving myself 12 months, and they're like on their script. They're like, I'm gonna go in there. The people who are working actors who have money saved are just like, hey, what's up, Kathy? How are you? They walk in. I'm like, how are they so calm? The energy. Remember that one guy? Do you have your resume? Hell no. I was like, I'm like, I just went and like printed this off and stapled everything correctly, and I'm sitting there like reading my lines, and this dude's sitting there, didn't bring his headshot or resume. Like 8 years ago? Oh, it was a long time ago. Yeah. He's like, hell no. And just walked in. The cast director was laughing, and this would be in like a sitcom if I were to try it and be like, do you have yours, Freddie? Hell nah. Okay, you can leave. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. But yeah, so it was. Oh man! But that desperation of this is my last $500. I have to make this work, or oh, this is my last. I only have one more month before my parents cut me off, and I have to go back to school. This is my last. Yep. You're not going to win. Yeah. You need to have full freedom, and you need to have control over your finances so that you can let that all go and just go, I don't really care. It's not more money, more problems. It's more money, better problems. Better problems. I think some people, the more money, more problems comes with like massive fame or massive like corporations like Elon Musk. I'm sure more money, more problems and how much there is. Yeah. But if you just like more money, more problems, if you go from like 47,000 a year to 79,000 a year, it's not more money, more problems. It's like fucking perfect. Like that extra 30 grand is going to solve all your problems, but it's not going to be like, I mean, unless people's ambition is 2 million a year or something, then of course you're going to have more problems because of that kind of position and or business to accumulate that kind of wealth. But anywho, I don't know where we were going with all that. All right, next one. They surround themselves with the right people. We have a whole chapter in the Pivot Principle about this, about your inner circle. And it's like, it's a tough topic, you know? Even writing that chapter was probably one of the hardest to actually sit down and write, because you're like, this kind of sucks to say out loud, but it's so true. Who you surround yourself with is everything. Yeah, that one's we've talked about that a lot, and it's very mainstream. If you're ever in this sphere of the internet, of podcasting, of blogs, of books, it is the hot topic, top 5 number one things that are talked about is it's who you're surrounded with.
Yeah.
Because if you're just gonna, sit around and we still kind of go through that every now and then where there are certain circumstances that somebody will ask me, like, hey, like, what's new? I don't know if they really mean it or they're just being polite.
Right.
But then I kind of like dim my light because I almost like, it's weird that I'm just like, oh yeah, things are great. Like Alyssa and I are awesome. Like we're just like living the dream, like working hard. And you leave it like that because it doesn't like affect someone's ego.
Yeah.
Where if someone's just like, hey, so like what's new? And it's like, well, in the past 12 months, like Alyssa started a blog, we learned how to create a website and we start taking pictures and we learned like photography. And then we had this idea for a book and we decided to write this book and it was like amazing. And we did the graphics, we did every single word in the book. We self-published it. It was incredible. Then we started a podcast about a year and a half ago that's going really well. We learned a lot about that. We've done some traveling, signed my 8th year contract on days. Like, it's like, you almost feel like, it's like, okay, Dick, I just wanted to know like what's new. I was like, well, well, we got engaged. Like that was a great, and like, that's like more relatable.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes I feel not embarrassed, but like we're just doing so many things that I just sometimes, and that just shows the circle.
Yeah.
Because if you had the right circle.
Imagine if Gary Vee was
asking
us.
I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, I'd be embarrassed. He's like, you're not doing enough.
Nope. He's like, are you posting every day on Instagram? No. All right. Well, I am on stories, but not grid. But he, like, if Gary Vee was in my circle or certain people, I would be embarrassed about how much we're not doing.
Yeah.
That we're still watching Netflix, that we're still doing that we're not, blah, blah, blah.
I love Netflix.
So you have to find your happy medium of
balance.
What, yet again, of what your ambition is.
Yeah.
And we should allow people, and that's one thing I hate when people are talking about, like you got to get rich or you have to do this. It's like, for some people, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. It's like people need to, but there's also the same thing too, where people talk crap on people who want to make money. They call it greed or like all that stuff. It's like, no. You got to let people be where they want to be in life. At the end of the day, what you choose to do for a living, the money's going to come with that or not.
Yeah.
There are certain things that you can choose that are your passion that you'll be happier than anyone in the world with, but it doesn't come with that income.
Yeah.
To make something like $2 million a year comes with a drastic skill set, reputation, a business, a high, like, I mean, your phone would probably never stop ringing. Like it comes with that much.
Yeah, of course.
And you're on 24/7. So you have to just choose what you want. But I think people should also stop preaching of like that, what people think they need to do.
Yeah.
People need to just live your life and meet people halfway. That's why I'm like super pumped about just like, I don't know.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. Okay.
Want to do one more?
Yeah. Let's see which is the best.
Oh, we have time. We can do 2 more. We try not to make these 9 hours, but we get on a roll.
I feel like you'll appreciate this.
What do you all think about the length? Would you, I'm not going to ask because they'll say 30 and then we'll do 1 hour and 21 next time.
Okay. So we'll do one more. And if you guys want to know the rest, you can go to alyssatappet.com and read them. But I feel like you're really going to enjoy this one because we talk a lot about it recently. They devote time to giving because there are a lot of different reasons, but although there are only 24 hours in a day, happy people fill some of that time doing good for others. This in return does good for the do-gooders. Givers can experience what researchers call the helper's high, a euphoric state experienced when engaging in a charitable act. Helping others allows us to have a genuine human interaction and connection. Mm-hmm. So think about any time, you're helping someone or like the other day I was with Savannah and we were in Old Town Pasadena.
I'm sorry.
Oh gosh.
No, that you're with Savannah.
Oh.
Missed my bit. I can talk crap on Savannah because she's not going to listen.
Love you, Savannah. Hate you. Just kidding.
She'll never see it. No, that's the thing with your closest friends. They support you, but they're not going to. Let's see if Savannah ever hears this.
Savannah. No. Okay. So I was with her and we were doing a little content shoot. And when we were walking from the parking lot to our first location, we saw this young guy in his 20s and he was sitting there, with his dog in his arms and he had a sign and our hearts were just broken. Like I hate any time that we see homeless people, just, I don't know, it really like tears me up. And so we went to lunch and I was like, we have to bring at least food to them, because I have this really big theory that sometimes when you give money, you don't know where that's going to. You know, if it's someone on the streets, I prefer to feed them, get them hydrated, you know, the necessities. And so we brought the food back, and the way that this guy's eyes just lit up, his dog hopped off of his lap, was wagging, he was splitting it with them. And like the feeling of just helping someone, I wish there's so much more I wish I could have done, but you know, there's only so much you can do. But there's nothing better than helping a fellow human on this earth. There's nothing, no other experience. Even like sometimes like when you speak on stage, or I'm sure maybe when you're shooting, when you're done, you get that euphoric high that feels so good. But when you're actually helping someone, it's just a different kind of high.
Comes from a different place.
It's unbeatable. It's untouchable.
Yeah.
Because you're helping someone, which is why we're all here on this planet anyways.
It is. And I think you can give your time and or money or both when the circumstance seems, you know, like that moment just felt to you in your heart that you had to do it. And you feel good about it. And at the same token too, I think there's that fine line between putting your own oxygen mask on before helping others. So I think there's just that fine line. And that's why I'm really interested about building such a foundation for ourselves, that in the future of not only doing small acts of kindness,
right?
Because you can always do that. No matter how busy you are, there's always small acts of kindness or donations that you can do with your time or money. But I think the long term of like, I'm excited for like our 50s, 60s, 70s of like the actual like bigger impact we can make through charitable contributions. But I want to put programs together, because that's one other thing I'm missing is like, I don't like when I'm giving money to something that
you don't know where it's going.
Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, you put $1 in there, you do this. I'm like, well, what is that? Like, I want there to be a better system set up where people can donate and see what that money's doing and be able to help. But I want to go all in on the education.
I know.
It's just, no matter, as much as I love dogs and I want to fight disease and there's all this like poverty. I mean, there's a lot of really important things to shed light on, but yet again, you can't do all of them.
Of course.
But the thing that really calls to me is the education, because I look back and just go, how could I have gotten to me at 16? What could have been interesting enough for me that I would have got on a different path of being able to learn earlier? And I'm still young. 31 to know what I know. I feel some people never learn it. So I'm still young, but I still think you can still get through to people at 16 and they won't get caught, because we were fortunate enough, because of circumstances, jobs, being creative, creating our own incomes and that kind of thing. But some people who go to school not knowing what they want to do, get $50,000 in debt, don't know how to handle their money, get into credit card debt, get a car, then they want to get a house and get married. I mean, most people, I believe, at 30 something are drowning. Yeah. But it's not their fault. And people like to blame, oh, that's irresponsible. It's like, but no one knew. They're not being taught. We're not being taught. And it bugs me that we're not being taught. And they wonder why people are stressed out and not making bigger strides. It's because they look at this big thing and go, how the hell am I ever going to pay this off? I'm going to be paying, like I am stuck with no plan.
But why weren't we taught in school how to write a check, how to balance a check? But like all of these actual, like, I'll never forget when I was probably 19, I was writing a rent check and my dad had to call me and explain, he's like, you have to write it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no idea, it was the first time. But I feel you hear so many of these stories of people who actually from a young age started reading, personal development books, and they just have gone above and beyond because they started at such an early age. Like even when I was like 15, my dad put Rich Dad Poor Dad on my bed. I never read it until my mid-20s, but you're never too young to start. And I feel like there's so much knowledge out there. It's so attainable. You just got to grab it and do it.
And that's all it is, about a year. I think if you really put in, a year, and even with high school, like I feel like the graduating like A+, I understand the discipline of like getting things and learning to like be committed, do your homework. I get that. But the vast majority of people aren't going to use that. What everyone will use is, we should have some sort of currency in high school where people go through and they understand the value of debt, buying a house, knowing all of this stuff, or what to do with your college debt, how to pay that off, understanding interest. I even heard something today from Bill Burr, he was talking about, he was like doing this huge rant, you know, Bill Burr, he's one of my favorites, Bill Burr. He was doing a rant how he hates like banks because he's just like was going off about like, he goes, when you buy a house, he goes, you think you own a house? He goes, no, you don't. You just got a different landlord. He goes, the bank, if I take 30 years to pay this off, I'm going to pay 2.5 times more than what I paid for my house in interest. And he just goes, I don't own that bank. So he said, I don't buy anything. I'm just paying off my house as soon as possible because I don't want. And then he was saying there was a leak in his roof and he filed an insurance claim, but the check was made out to him and the bank because the bank needs to check to make sure he's using the money to fix the thing. Because what people were doing is that they'd buy a house for $280. The market crashed or whatever would happen. Now the house is only worth $210. They get a leak, they get insurance money, and they go, I'm not going to fix this. I'm already under on my house. I'm going to go buy a new car. So now the bank, even if he goes, just give me the money. I'm going to fix the roof. He's like, but now I understand. He goes, they own you. Yeah. You don't own your house till you own your house. Of course. But I'm just like, now everything's
Grant Cardone says to rent.
I haven't dug in. He goes
crazy.
He only rents.
Yeah.
Except he has like 2,000 doors that he owns.
Very different.
So that's so different. But for someone who's not in business, owning is a very good idea because you have something that's yours.
You have to, yeah.
Of course. But depending on what your whole path is. But yet again, it's like all these things are interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because it's necessary. Everyone will have. Is it necessary?
I just gonna see that.
Dodgeball reference. So I don't know. I just think it's what I'm spending my time on. It's why I'm watching more of Dave Ramsey. I want to learn. I want to learn and share with all of you what I'm learning because it was never taught. And we're just like running through life, you know, I remember like just trying to save up money to like go on a vacation. Like people work 50 weeks out of the year. And some people can't even afford to scrape together enough to go on a family vacation because they're paying $1,200 every month to 9 credit cards, student loan, and things that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where that could have been prevented or alleviated, where they could have put $600 towards the house and had no credit cards and put the other $600 away every single month to take $5,000 and go to Disneyland once a year.
Yeah.
But we weren't taught that.
We were not taught that.
So I don't know. There's something we can do it. We can start here on the podcast, but big scale stuff, I think there's something we'll be able to do in the next 10 years.
You know what's crazy too? A lot of the stuff I learned in high school, I couldn't even tell you how to utilize any of it or remember half of it.
And that's an issue.
I know.
But but it was designed during a time when the world was full of employees and working. Sure. It was designed
Very true.
It created. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
As much as it's not working, it's still amazing to me that everyone goes to school, everyone does homework, everyone gets these grades, and you go to school and like you spend 13 years of your life. Like, how did someone create that every person, imagine trying to get nowadays every person to go do something.
So hard.
How is it ever done? So I give them props to creating school and education and higher learning, but what's being taught needs to change, but they're behind. And it shows me that they're behind because there's people like Toys R Us and Blockbuster that was so cool, and they were the big dogs,
the big bad guys.
And they got destroyed by a new way of life.
Yeah. And
school system has not changed since the 50s.
Yeah.
Things are much different.
Well, yeah.
We don't need to memorize anything.
Curriculum and all
it was
that.
important to know the presidents. It was important to know the capitals so that you weren't completely ignorant. Now it is a waste of time to learn any of that because you can just go, hey, Siri, what's the capital of Kansas?
You should still learn it, though.
Why?
Geography. You should know.
No, those are precious years of our lives that we should be learning about things and being creative and writing poetry. And I love this other thing about if you're trying to teach an elephant to climb a tree, it's going to feel like it's stupid its whole life. It's like, no, the elephant was not designed to climb the tree. And you have everybody in this schoolroom, and everyone's different. Let someone go do music. Let someone work on a car. Let someone.
I do agree with all of that, of helping students find their passions earlier, what they're good at, what they're skilled at.
Let them burn the 8th grade to 12th grade on experimenting when it's free. When they're living with their parents, when they don't have bills, when they don't have a mortgage, when they don't have stress, they get to go party with their friends, play baseball, cheerlead, and just play like they're working at Google.
Yeah.
And they get to try things. Do I like writing poetry? This sucks. Let me try this. Ooh, I like doing this. Great.
I like making music and writing
Learn
songs.
and then focus on that and then go to college to amplify that.
Yeah.
Or have the traditional route. If you know I'm going to be a doctor, then great. Then stick with it and go crush it.
Yes.
But they should allow people to discover during a time. It's hard to discover your passion when you're living in a studio out in LA with 4 other dudes going to auditions, being like, I'm trying to do this acting thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you're struggling financially. If you tried it when you were 12 and 13, there are ways to do that. There is acting in school. We can do that. But to end this whole rant of this is kindergarten through 6th grade is ideal.
Yeah.
It's daycare mixed with learning to be social with other kids. It's about learning to communicate and follow rules and have discipline. And you need to learn to read, write, and do math. That is absolutely a necessity.
Yes.
From 7th grade to 12th grade, I don't know what we learned, and I don't know what we are spending 5 to 6 years of our prime life doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm more interested in history now as an adult than I didn't care at 14.
Well, of course.
Back in 1929. What? What's for lunch? I just want to go but now I care.
Of course. But as you grow older, you want to learn what interests you.
Something. How about money? How about art?
Anyway. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed that little rant off.
The rant off.
An F. Smith Ridge.
An F. Smith Ridge. I love that. Well, thank you for spending some time with us on this Friday.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, and we'll be talking to you soon. We're going to bring you more of the Freddie and Alyssa show.
That's right. We'll see you guys next time.
You know what we have to work on real quick? We got to work on an outro. You know, we kind of have like, hey, on today's Freddie and Alyssa show, we have their intro, then we have
so how do you want to
our
outro
ad,
it?
then we have the whole thing, and then we have no outro. That's what we're lacking.
All right, that's what we're lacking, so we're going to have to work on that.
Bye!